Hi, I'm Colin from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of the Chausson Titatium 628. So starting our walk around of the vehicle on the driver's side first. First point you get to is your LPG, so liquid petroleum gas. This is your gas locker, which houses one 6 kilogram propane bottle. So this is just our test bottle at the moment. So to connect the pigtail to the bottle, it's a left hand thread, opposite threads with it being gas. Then you will need a gas spanner or an adjustable wrench just to nip that up. Use the straps provided behind the bottle to tie the bottle in, and always make sure that you are turning the bottle off before you start driving, which is on the top here. So you can turn it anti-clockwise to open and clockwise to close. Next to it you've got your external gas point, so you connect into here using the red gas tap. You can turn the gas supply on and off, and this will work off the main bottle on board, and you just get a fitting that pushed into here. And then you will need a Jubilee clip and some more orange hosing to power your Kadak or your external awning heater or barbecue. Moving further back, you've got your two fridge vents for your on light and your awning. WC chemical cassette toilet. So this key here opens all the locks. On the habitation side, it's the habitation key. Then you want to make sure that the blade is closed on the bottom bowl of the toilet, which is the grey lever, otherwise the cassette won't come out. And then you'll be able to lift and slide it out like so. Got some wheels so you can drag it to the waste disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block. And then to empty, remove the grey cap, press the button, tip it out. Once you've tipped it out, there's normally a tap there, so you put some water in, put the grey cap back on, give it a rinse, remove the grey cap and empty for the final time. Then if you're using the liquid form of chemical, the inside of the cap acts as a measuring stick, so 120 ml of chemical into here, and it's good to go back into the motorhome. If you're using the sachet form of tablets, put it in, completely dry the cassette, open the blade, flush a pint of water into the cassette followed by a tablet. One tablet is all it needs each time the cassette is changed. Behind the back passenger wheel, this indicates your waste water. So this is any water that you've used, so dishes, hand basin and showering water all goes into a holding tank. You simply pull the lever out over the waste disposal point, which is on your motorhome service bay as you walk driving out of the site. And obviously in the winter months you want to allow this to be completely dry of liquid, because you wouldn't want the water to freeze, because then it isn't covered under any warranties, as frost damage is your responsibility to drain the vehicle down. So this would be one of the points you'd want to drain down. Got your garage at the back. In the garage, got a light, it's heated, it's got 12 volt and it's got a mains 240 plug in there. You'll notice you've got your awning winding handle there. You've got your seat back for your 5th belted seat, carpets, carb carpets, and you've got these tethering rails which you can move along the rail here, and then you can tie whatever you need to do in. Your bed is adjustable depending on what you've got in the garage, so this is in the lowest position. You can put the board down to cover the bed, and then when you've got the bikes in, you'd have the bed in the highest position and you wouldn't need this board because it would be level with the top of here. Coming round to the back of the vehicle, you've got your high level reverse camera at the top and your high level brake light. And then you do have 2 bike rack, so you can fit 2 bikes on here. Bikes through there, wheels on the rails, these through the spokes to tie the wheels down onto the rail. and then these on your crossbars just to hold at the top of the bike. Then you would want to put some sort of bike lock around the bikes to tie it to the bike rack. On the passenger side, you've got your smaller door for your garage, you've got your truma vent, so always make sure this is obstruction free and just allows the fumes out. You've got your mains connection point. This is where you can connect with 240 when you arrive on site or you're charging at home. And to do so, get your hooker bleed, lift the collar, expose the ends. This top bit needs to go on top of here, so you just slide it on, hook the vehicle up first, then the power source, so that you are not exposing yourself to a live lead in the rain. And then when unhooking, there's a small blue clip here that you press down to unhook. This locker here is called your Technibox locker, and it has your water filler in, and it has all your fuses and your RCD. So to fill with water, you get a hose pipe, so do carry one because most sites don't have hose pipes, it's just a brass tap, so you will need a few connections and a hose pipe. Put the hose into there, wait until it overflows or until you're happy you've got enough water on board, which you can see on the main control panel, which I'll go through when I'm inside the vehicle. So once you've topped it up, so it's full, you're then ready to travel. You don't want to carry the excess weight of water, but you do want to carry a minimum of 20 litres of water. This is where this lever comes in. So this leaves 20 litres remaining in the tank. So you would just lift it up, put the pump on, and it'll start squirting out underneath the vehicle. If the pump's not on, it won't drain the water down. And then to do the final drain, so in the winter when you're winterizing it or you've taken on contaminated water and you want to drain the tank off, you've got to get underneath the vehicle, and there's this pipe here. What you do is the last customer's fitted a valve, so you can just open it and close it. So you always want to open that and make sure there's no water left on board over the winter months when it's going to freeze when not using the vehicle. To this side you've got all your charger unit, you have 12 volt fuses, so check these. If one did blow or an item's not working, check the fuse because that can be the main cause sometimes, but do carry some spares just to replenish that fuse. And then should you blow the 240 side out with a hairdryer or a kettle, you can try your trips here. The passenger door on the Transit, you've got your easy fill diesel filling system, so no cap, just push the nozzle in and fill with diesel fuel. And then below you've got AdBlue. So the AdBlue is about a 18 litre tank on a Transit. It'll do 5,500 miles on a full tank. When it indicates, it'll give you a mileage countdown, it'll come up on the dash as a warning, AdBlue low. It'll give you 1,000 miles to then top that back up, but do it as soon as possible, because if you do leave it and it gets low, the vehicle will go into limp mode, which is 50 mile an hour restriction on the engine just to protect it. And if it goes completely dry of AdBlue, it'll just fail to start, and you've got to get Ford out to top the AdBlue up and then use a computer to restart the vehicle. Your leisure battery lives underneath your passenger seat, and your engine battery lives underneath the driver's seat. If you need to turn off the passenger airbag for carrying a child in the passenger seat, it's done through here by using the key, Ford key. You'll notice you've no spare wheel on this, so it's a compressor and a gel pack. And then open the bonnet using the key, turn to the left to pop the bonnet, and then to release it you turn to the right to pop the bonnet. And then in here you've got all your fluids, so you've got your screen wash, oil, power steering, brake fluid, oil dipstick, positive for jump starting the vehicle should you ever need to give or receive a jump start, and then you would earth off the side of the engine hoist where you would lift it out through there. And then you've got the weight plate, so 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight, 4250, so you've got 750 kilograms tone weight on a Ford automatic. And then you do have a build number here, so should you ever need parts, if you just quote that number. So inside the vehicle, this is your main 12 volt control panel. So if you get this light on here, it means you're receiving mains hookup and you've got two 40 volt. If you didn't, you would just have the power that's in your leisure battery, which will just be 12 volts. So no 3-pin plugs and 240 appliances will work unless you are hooked up. So your master switch is here, so you turn the vehicle off and on, and then next to it you have the master switch for your lights, which are all then individually switched around the vehicle. One that looks like the tap is your pump, so you must have this on to pressurize water to the shower, the external shower, the kitchen sink, the hand basin and toilet. Otherwise you'll just get whatever's in the line and it'll soon fade away. One at the end in the right hand corner is your awning light, so this is the light outside the vehicle. And then these here correspond to these at the bottom. So you've got the one that looks like the trailer, which is your leisure battery reading. You've got the one that looks like the truck, which is your Ford battery reading. And then you've got your water level, which is your fresh water level here. If that was to go red, it's telling you it's time to refill the fresh water. And if the one below flashes red, it's time to empty the grey waste. Next to the control panel is your heating and hot water panel, which is a Truma digital CP control panel. So to turn on and off, you just press and hold here, and then this is like standby. So to get into the menu, you'd press enter and the screen will go white, and you'll have a motorhome in the top left hand corner flashing with a thermometer in it. So starting off with this one, this is the temperature of the interior of the motorhome. So you can have it all the way to 30 degrees or all the way down to off, depending on what temperature you want. So at the moment we'll say 30 degrees, and then you press enter to preset the thermostat at 30 degrees. So that's how hot the vehicle will get. Moving along, you've got the water in the thermometer. So this is your hot water. So if you've got your boiler open, don't have the water on, or if you've got no water on board, you wouldn't heat any water, because it would be like boiling a kettle without any water in. You'd burn the element out. So you've got off, eco, which is 40 degrees of heating your water, hot, which is 60 degrees of heating the water, or boost, which will turn off the heating and prioritize the water first. So for this we'll just say hot, which is 60 degrees of heating your water. And then the next source is what source you want the heating to in hot water to heat off. So you've got on this one, so this is a Truma 6D, which stands for diesel, so there's no gas. So you've got diesel, which you'd use if you're wild camping. You've got mixed 1, which is 1 kilowatt of electric and diesel. You've got mix 2, which is 2 kilowatts of electric and diesel. So you'd use this if you're away in the cold and you wanted to boost your hot water or boost your temperature of the motorhome as you're away in the winter, take the chill off. You've got electric on 1 kilowatt, which you'd use on smaller CL sites, or electric on 2 kilowatts, which you'd use on most sites throughout the UK. So depending on what current the site gives you, it would be determined whether you use 1 or 2 kilowatts of electric. So for this we'll just say mix 2 and use diesel and 2 kilowatts of electric together, which will get the vehicle and the water to temperature in no time. In the top right you've got the fans, so you can have it on eco or high. High you'll hear the fans more, eco they're a little bit quieter and take a smaller feed of 12 volt. So if you were wanting to sleep with the heating on, sleep with it on eco, the fan, instead of high, as it'll not be as loud. In the bottom left you've got a timer, so you can time the heating to come on and off. time for the main display panel. Then should you get a warning triangle in the middle, you can go to the spanner, go to reset, press enter, it'll come up preset, press enter again, then you'll have to go in and reset everything again. And then to turn off, you just press and hold. So as we enter the vehicle, this is just a quick walk around of the vehicle, giving people an idea of what the layout looks like. So you've got your washroom, island bed, which can go up and down like I've said from outside depending on what you've got in the garage, shower to your right hand side, kitchen, drop down bed, and then you do have your fixed half dinette, and then your fifth travelling belt is made up facing backwards behind the driver's seat. Located to the right hand side of the island bed beside your shower, if you lift the panel off here, this is your anti-frost control. So this is how you would drain your hot water system down. So your hot water system on a motorhome holds 10 litres of water. In the winter, it's very important that you drain all the water out. So you've done the waste, you've done the fresh from outside, you need to do the boiler. So when it's facing, the diamond is facing front to back, and the black little nib is down, and there's no blue button pushed out on the side, it's holding water. And then when you're not using it, when it's going to freeze, you want to drain it down. This will automatically drain it at 3 degrees, but don't rely on it, because if it ever becomes faulty, you would then be footing the bill for a boiler, which is very expensive. So just double check, and all you need to do is you need to just turn it. The button will pop out on the side, the nib will pop out, and you'll hear the water draining directly out underneath the chassis. You would leave that open during the time you're not using the vehicle. Once you start using it, so say you're not using it from November, and then you're going to start using it again in March, you would then shut the boiler, shut the fresh, shut the waste, fill the vehicle with water, shut all the taps within the vehicle because you would leave them open for any airlock. Come in, once you're filled with water, put the control panel on and put the pump on. Go at the cold side of the tap first. The cold water should start to filter through very quickly because it's pulling it from the freshwater tank via the pump to the tap. Go at the hot side, it will cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises because it's pushing the air that the boiler has accumulated out through the taps until you get a free flow of water. Once you get a free flow of water, the system is then primed, and then you do each individual tap on the hot side, and then the system is good to go. But once you start, you should start with the kitchen. Once you've done the kitchen, it should take a very small amount of time to do the others. But if it's coughing and spluttering and making noises, don't be alarmed. It's just pushing the air out until the water starts filtering through and you get a free flow of water. So in the toilet area, to operate the toilet, ensuring that the pump is on first, you'll be able to press this blue button at the back, which is your electric flush. Flush the toilet. Flush it first to lubricate the seal on the blade, and then to open the blade you'd use the grey slide lever, slide it to the right, use the toilet, flush the toilet, and then slide it to the left, which will close the blade and allow you to get the cassette out when you need to. Should you be buying the liquids, the blue and the pink, you can get them as a multi-pack. Because this doesn't have a reservoir where you can fill the cistern up with the pink like the older caravans do, what you can do is you can get a spray bottle, dilute the pink and then spray it in and then flush, and it'll do the same job. When the cassette is full, you'll get an indication here underneath the diagram of the cassette to say that it needs emptied. Got your little switch here, which is your lights for the washroom, toiletry cabinet, both sides, one underneath the sink, and then you do have a fly screen and a blackout blind on your skylight. Exactly the same in the shower room. In the corner you've got a lock and an unlock, so you can unlock the skylight and then you can use the winder to open it for ventilation, but always make sure it is shut before you travel and then lock it into place. And you've got a hanging rail for your towels. Adjacent to the toilet you've got your shower, so when travelling always make sure that the velcro strap is on the shower doors, and they are just magnetic. You've got the duck board which you can lift out when cleaning. It's just better for bearing weight evenly across the plastic shower tray. Same skylight, blackout blind and fly screen and hanging rail. It's more beneficial that this is in here than in the toilet, because if you do have wet towels, wet coats, wet clothing, you can hang them up in the shower to drip dry. And then when winterizing, remove your shower head from your hose, lie your hose down and leave your mixer tap open. So to operate your easy bed, if you lift the bed up, you've got storage underneath, but you've also got this handle here. So this handle goes through here and onto the post at the back, and then it's on a belt system, so you can wind it up and down depending on what you do have in the garage. And then that's the highest position. So with the bed down, it is a little bit higher, so you've got a little more of a step on each side to get into the bed. And then on either side you do have wardrobe, shelving that side. So that's your hanging rail on this side, and then these lights, just press the end, you've got two settings. So you've got off, you've got on, and then you've got brighter, and that's on both sides for your little reading lights and storage above. In the kitchen area you've got 3 lit gas rings there. Allow it to cool before you put the cooker hood down, but there is a built-in ignition on these. But with it being a Continental vehicle and just how the French have wired the van, you do have to have the lights on to work the ignition on the oven and the hob, as well as the drop down bed at the front. Storage. Light switch here is for the light that's on the ceiling when this bed's down. So there's a light there, so whoever's in the bed can control the light on the main ceiling. You've got your switch there to lower it down, and a 240 plug, cutlery tray, some more storage. So once you've bled the gas through, it will then start lighting, just getting the thermocouple warm. So you've got your oven which is lit, and then turn the other way, and you've got your grill. Little switch here for oven light. And then when travelling, take the grill pan and oven shelf out, as it will rattle, or you can wrap them up in a tea towel and that should dampen the sound. And you do have a bit of storage underneath. So this is your drop down bed lowered, which is by that switch in the kitchen. You don't need to do anything as nothing hits the upholstery or the table. Sleep heads at that end, feet at the door, as it's the shorter end this end. And then underneath you've got your ladder which clips on here, and your nets if you're putting children in. They connect on the frame and then on the hooks at the ceiling so that they don't roll out. You can leave your duvet on, take your pillows off, and just in the corner there there's a switch. So there's a switch on the bed, and that grey box is a switch, so when the bed comes together it'll put the lights on. When it departs, the lights go off. Just make sure that no duvets got caught in there, and when you put it up and you're wondering why the lights won't work, just check that nothing's been caught in there just between the contact, and then stopping the contact from connecting to each other. On the top here you have got space to stand a TV. It's fitted with a TV aerial, which is a fixed aerial, but you can adjust the booster here. And then obviously you've got 12 volt, 240 and a TV point there. If you're struggling, you can adjust it, or if it's too strong, you can adjust it down to get the perfect picture. With your bed, you've got to make sure that this key is in the on position, so it's got to be horizontal, not vertical. Vertical's off, horizontal's on, and then should the 12 volt ever fail, this cowl comes off, and you can use your winding handle, which is supplied with the vehicle, on the top of the motor to wind it manually up and down. So to operate your fridge freezer, so you've got a separate freezer box to the fridge. It's all through the control panel in the middle. So you can turn on and off here. A stands for automatic energy selection, so the brain of the fridge will pick out the best source it has available. So at the moment we have the gas on and we're hooked up, it's when to hook up. If I was to take the hookup out, it would switch over to gas automatically without you touching it. And if I was to start the engine, it would go to the 12 volt setting, which is a feed from the engine alternator, which basically means that if it's pre-chilled or you're travelling from site to site and if you've had it on, it's cooled, your shopping's nice and fresh, it'll keep the shopping at the same temperature as it was when departing. So if you haven't had it on, it's no good just putting it on to 12 volt because it's going to do nothing. You need to pre-chill it at home before, or if you're moving from site to site, great. If you wanted to manually control what source, if you just press this square button here, the A will disappear, it's gone to mains hookup, so it'll act as a 240 household appliance. Battery, it's flashing red and it's coming up with a code 6 because it's got no 12 volt ignition feed from the alternator because the engine's not on. Click again and it'll go to gas. Then you can use your temperature, 5 being the coolest, and then you've got this setting here, which basically what it'll do is it'll put heat round here to stop the rubber from sticking to the freezer door when it's on for a long period of time. Then what you want to do is you want to ensure when you're not using it and it's parked up for a couple of weeks or a couple of months in the winter when you've winterized it, you have emptied the fridge, you've cleaned it out with an antibacterial cleaning liquid. You then don't want to shut the door, because if you shut the door, it traps that air in. That air then starts growing mould and the van will start smelling, so you need to leave the doors open. So underneath each you've got this black clip, same with the freezer, and you just clip that into there and it'll leave the door ajar to allow air ventilation in and out, and you'll do exactly the same with the freezer door to stop that from smelling and growing mould. So to lower the table, what you need to do is underneath there's a red lever. If you just push it, then push your body weight down on it, you can then lower the table. If you get it right into the position in the middle, it'll click and it'll stay down. If you don't want it to be used as a table, you can have it as a coffee table. And then there's a lever here as well, which you press to help move the table back and forth, and when you're moving it around to get it in the right position, if you just squeeze that on it's on a cable system to allow it to move. So now in the cab, which is based on a Mark 8 Ford Transit, you've got your handbrake to your right, which is a folding handbrake, so you'll know when it's on when it's ratcheting like it is now, and then lift it up a little bit higher, press the button and drop it, and then you'll see the handbrake light goes out. So it's not on there, it's on. But as this is a automatic, it's up to you whether you use the park brake or not. You'll only really need to use it if you're on a hill, but it is good practice to use it now and again so that the handbrake doesn't seize. Remus car blinds on the windows, so you pinch and slide on the driver and passenger doors, and then just pinch, slide them out, and what will happen is They will meet in the middle, like so, and that is the carb blinds on the windscreen shut. And then coming down here, you've got your electric windows. You press the lock and unlock to lock the carb doors and the habitation door, as the hab door is on the central locking system. Mirror adjustment, lights, so they are automatic, you can just leave them on that. And then you do have your headlight adjustment. When the lights are on, you can lower and dim the brightness of the instrument clusters. And then you do have the front and rear fog lights, wiper stalk, that does all your radio controls, that does all your lights. This one goes through your trip computer, so it'll tell you your range of fuel you've got in the tank, your digital speedometer, exterior temperature, average speed, miles per gallon, instant miles per gallon when you're running, travelling times, and so on. You can also go back, and then you can go to information, and it'll say AdBlue level OK, system check 0 messages. So you can check your AdBlue through here as well. You've got 2 trip computers, got your indicators, you've got your speed limiter this side closer at the steering wheel, and on the outside you've got the cruise control where it's set by plus and the minus. You can cancel it here, and then you can resume it without touching the brake from here. Power shift automatic transmission by Ford. So you're in park, you've got reverse. So reverse will bring on your reversing camera. Red is showing the back of the bumper, green the distance you've got. And then you've got drive, and you have manual. And if you use a manual, you can then use the thumb switch, which is up and down, but you can use these anyway when you're in drive. This gearbox will learn how you drive, so if you pull off quick, it'll change gear quicker. If you're slower, it'll hold a gear more to get going. But it'll pick up on how you drive, and it'll adapt to your driving style. Radio, FM, AM, press 1 to 9 to save your favourite channels. You've got an auxiliary of a USB here, or if you press this button here, this will pop up, and you've got a 3.5mm jack and a 12V cigarette lighter there. For your sat nav and you can, or your dash cam, and you've got wires either side, so it looks quite neat, so you can get your wires out. Or you can have Bluetooth audio. And to connect your phone, you press phone. It'll come up no phone. You press OK. Menu. Add a device. Select a device. OK, and you want to just find Ford Bluetooth on your device. Press pair on your phone. Press pair on your phone, and then it'll ask if you want to download your contacts. Press allow, and then it'll download the phone book into the vehicle. Distribution, air conditioning button, temperature, your recirculation button, and your fan speed. And then you do have another 12V there and a glove box. To turn the seats, there's a half bar. So there's a big bar here which moves the seat back and forth, and then you've got a little half bar which you can turn the seat round, and then you would just adjust the driving position, this bar here, to get the seat fully round without it catching on the door or the handbrake.